كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد نبيك ورسولك، وسيدنا إبراهيم خليلك وصفيك، وسيدنا موسى كليمك ونجيك، وسيدنا عيسى روحك وكلمتك، وعلى جميع ملائكتك ورسلك وأنبيائك وخيرتك من خلقك وأصفيائك وخاصتك وأوليائك من أهل أرضك وسمائك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد عدد خلقه ورضاء نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته وكما هو أهله، وكلما ذكره الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون، وعلى أهل بيته وعترته الطاهرين وسلم تسليما.
Mutahhar ruh şeriflerine salavat-ı şerife getirenlerin ahir ve akıbetleri hayrola. Âl-i azvâc-ı tahirat-ı evlâd-ı Resul-i Ashab-ı Güzin efendilerimizin, Sâir-i Enbiya Azam ve Resul-i Kiram Hazırat'ın ervah şeriflerine, Pirimiz Bilal-i Habeşi radıyallahu anh efendimizin, Mihmandar-ı Resul-i Kibriya, Eyyub Sultan Halid bin Zeyd Eba Eyyub el-Ansari radıyallahu anh, Şah Murşidan, Şah Hacı Muhammed Bahaddin Akşebendi el-Bukhari, Mevlana Celal-Din Rumi, Mevlana Ziyaddin Khalid el-Baghdadi, Sahibu Zaman, Kiblatul İslam, Şeyh Mevlana Muhammed Nazım Adel el-Hakkani, Sahibu Seyf, Şeyh Abdülkerim el-Kıbrıs Rabbani, Kaddesallahu esraruhum hazıratın ervahı için, Hadimul Harimeyn-i Şerifen Yavuz Sultan Selim Han, Ebel Fatih vel Magazi Fatih Sultan Mehmet Han ve Serdar-ı Hakan Sultan Abdülhamid Han cennet mekan, Firdevs-i Aşiyana hazıratın ervahına ve avn-i inayetine, Allah husus bu caminin bayinesi ve bugüne kadar içerisinden gelmiş geçmiş İmam Muazzin, Kayyim, cemaatin ve kafi ehli eman ervahı için, Allah rızası için El-Fatiha. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. İnnallâhe ve melâiketuhu yusallûne alen-nebi. Ya eyyühellezîne âmenû sallû aleyhi ve sellimû teslîmâ. Allahümme salli ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala ali seyyidina Muhammed. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Eşhedü en la ilahe illallah, eşhedü en la ilahe illallah, eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah, eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah. Hayya alas-salah, hayya alas-salah, hayya alel-felah, hayya alel-felah. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. La ilahe illallah.
La ilahe illallah. Seyyidina Muhammed Resulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Elhamdülillah, elhamdülillah. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala Resulina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecmain. Nehmadullah Teala ve nastağfiru eşhedü en la ilahe illallah vahdehu la şerike lah. Neşhedü enne seyyidina Muhammeden abduhu ve habibuhu ve resuluhu sallallahu aleyhi ve ala alihi ve azvacihi ve sebet tabi hulefel raşidin mahadin min ba'di. وزراء المتي على التحقيق عزز منهم على الأميت خلفاء رسول على التحقيق أمر المؤمنين حضرات أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعلى بقية الصحابة التابعين رضوان الله عليهم أجمعين. يا أيها المؤمنون الحاذرون اتقوا الله تعالى فإن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the universes. All praises are due to Allah, who gives support to His holy Prophet ﷺ in the Holy Quran, saying, BismillahirRahmanirRahim. If the intention of the enemy is to deceive you, then Allah is enough for you. It is He who supports you with His help and with the believers. And as for the believers, He has put affection between their hearts. If you had spent all that is in the earth, you could not have brought their hearts together. But Allah brought them together. Truly, He is mighty, wise. O Prophet, Allah is enough for you and those who follow you from the believers. Sadaqallah al-Azim. May all peace and blessings be upon the pride of creation, Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Ya Allah, bless our Master Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam for eternity and seat him in the place of honor at your side and give him privilege and the favor of shafa'at and the highest station, and bestow on him the maqam al-mahmud that you have promised him, because you do not change what has been decreed. Ya Allah, I beg you, for you are my King, my Master, my Mawla, my confidence and my hope. I beg you for the sake of the holy month of Muharram and the holy city of Mecca and the holy lands and the holy turba of your Prophet ﷺ, that you bestow on me from the good that none knows but you, and that you protect me from the evil that none knows but you. Ameen. Ameen, inshallah. May peace and blessings be upon his noble family and upon his holy companions, especially upon the Four Khulafa Rashidin, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar al-Faruq, Hazrat Osman al-Ghani, and Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, and all those who follow them until the last day. May peace and blessings be upon the Mashayikh of this noble way, the Sheikhs of Sohbat. May peace and blessings be upon the Ottoman Sultans, the pillars of truth and justice. May Allah love those who love them. May Allah curse those who hate them. O believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create man to be alone. Even in the paradises, our father Adam alayhi salam felt lonely, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our mother Hawana to be his companion. In this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create man to live by himself without others. It is the nature of man to organize himself with other people, whether it is a family, a town, a city, or a country. This is the nature of humans. What our Holy Prophet ﷺ came to show us is how to take that nature of man, that nature of being together, and make it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Holy Prophet ﷺ came and declared the message of Islam in Mecca, what happened? Those people who came from the most tribal society on earth, they broke the bonds of that tribe, and they came together to organize themselves in a new way, in a community founded on La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. It did not matter their tribe, their clan, their mother, their father, or their race. They left everything on the side and they entered into the Dergahi of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said, "This is my community." They lived as a community in Mecca. They lived as a community when they were tortured. They lived as a community when they were expelled from Mecca and had to live on the outskirts of the city, when nobody bought from them or sold from them, when they starved together and saw their children and beloved ones die together. They undertook the difficult journey to Medina together. They fought in Badr, in Uhud, in Handak together. They built a new city, a new civilization together. They entered Mecca again together under the leadership of that Holy Prophet ﷺ. They established a society that has never known before in the history of man, an empire of faith, a sultanate founded upon the love of Allah and His Holy Prophet. The Ummah has lost all this completely today. We lost this when we lost that one who is representing that prophet, the Khalifatullah. We lost this when we stopped believing in sheikhs. We lost this when the sickness of thinking that every person can interpret Islam as they liked entered into this ummah. We lost this when political power is dictating what the faith is. The Holy Prophet ﷺ made it clear that only the Jamaat is in safety. He said, the Jews split into 71 sects. One of them is in paradise, and 70 are in hellfire. The Christians split into 72 sects. 71 are in the hellfire, and one of them is in paradise. By the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad ﷺ, my nation will split into 73 sects. One of them is in paradise, and 72 are in hellfire. It was said, Ya Rasulullah, who are the ones in paradise? The Prophet ﷺ said, the united community, the Jamaat. And in another hadith sharif, Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, I command you with 5 words with which Allah commanded me: to listen, to obey, to struggle in the way of Allah, to make hijrah, and to unite with the Jamaat. For whoever splits away from the Jamaat as much as a handspan has cast off the protection of Islam from his neck until he returns, whoever calls to the ways of Jahiliyyah will surely be among the rubble of hell. A man said, Ya Rasulullah, even if he prays and he fasts, the Prophet ﷺ said, even if he prays and fasts. So call to the ways of Allah, who has named you the Muslims, the believers, the servants of Allah. This is a warning from Sayyid al-Kainat. Understand that without the Jamaat, without the structure of a community, we cannot even perform the basic functions of Islam. The Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, a basic foundation of implementing that Sunnah in a person's life is that he is around a community. Understand that the Prophet ﷺ implemented the Shariat and the laws of Islam when he founded the community in Medina. How can you pray if you have nobody to pray with? How can you give zakat if there's nobody to give it to? How can you fast Ramadan if you have nobody to share your meals with? How can you learn manners and how to be a human being if you force yourself to be alone, sitting in a room by yourself? The hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, describing the blessings of being in a Jamaat, they are endless. He's saying, verily the prayer of a man with another man is purer than his prayer alone. And his prayer with 2 men is purer than his prayer with 1 man. The more there are, the more beloved it is to Allah Almighty. And he ﷺ is saying, Allah will announce on the day of resurrection, where are my neighbors? Where are my neighbors? The angels will say, our Lord, who is befitting to be your neighbor? Allah will say, the ones who filled the masjids. And it is reported that some people came to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said that they ate food but they didn't get full. Holy Prophet ﷺ asked if they ate separately, and they said yes. Then he said, eat your meals together and make zikr of Allah's name over it, for you will be blessed in it. Of course, there are people who have no choice, who are unable to be around a community, who due to hardship are by themselves. Even still, their hearts may be with the community, because the Prophet says, ﷺ, verily the spirits of 2 believers will meet throughout the day, even if they do not see each other. So what happens when people start to live in community for the sake of Allah? Their hearts must start to come together. They must build familiarity to each other. They must build love and care to each other. And that love will pull the Prophet's love. And that love will pull Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. Holy Prophet ﷺ is telling us in Hadith Sharif, Allah Almighty said, my love is a right upon those who love each other for my sake. My love is a right upon those who visit each other for my sake. My love is a right upon those who sit together for my sake. My love is a right upon those who maintain relations for my sake. Being in a community makes you to learn friendship. Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying in the Hadith Qudsi, Allah Almighty said, my love is a right upon those who befriend each other for my sake. And my love is a right upon those who defend each other for my sake. Friendship is one of the strongest anchors of a person's Islam. The Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba, which hook of Islam is the strongest? Some said namaz. He ﷺ said namaz is good, but it is not that. Some people said fasting. Some people said struggle, and Holy Prophet said it is good, but it is not that. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the strongest hook of faith is to develop friendship and enmity for Allah alone. So who are we making into our friend? Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi Qadasasir is saying, every awliya is Allah's proof. The rank and station of men and women is determined by how they treat the awliya. If they are hostile to the awliya, they are acting hostile against Allah. If they are friends with the awliya, they have made friendship with Allah. For Allah says, whoever has seen them has seen me. Whoever finds them has found me. True friendship is to sacrifice oneself for one's friend, to plunge into danger for our friend's sake, for all are headed towards one and the same goal. All are drowned in one and the same sea. This is the effect of faith and submission to Allah. And the friends of Allah, they speak the truth. Our Shaykh Sahib al-Saif, Shaykh Abdul Karim al-Kibrisi Rabbani, he made a community for the sake of understanding what is this friendship. Understand, we are not declaring that we are perfect. Understand that we are not saying that we're doing everything correctly. We are here to understand how much more we must have and we must do. Understanding how it was, this is why he built. For the understanding of how it was that the Sahaba Kiram lived with the Holy Prophet ﷺ, for not being separated and scattered apart in this Akhir Zaman. It doesn't matter if a person is physically part of this community or not. What matters is the heart. If we are part of this community with our heart, we are part of the work of our Shaykh. And he's saying, we pulled ourselves from outside communities and we are trying to build our own community. We are trying to bring all these orders that are given to us through the Holy Prophet ﷺ. My duty is to bring the community together, to watch, to make you understand what is right and what is wrong, and to work on people. Your duty is to accept when I say this is right and this is wrong. That way we can build. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to build. And in the day of judgment, you are going to be responsible. Not only me, you will be responsible. Every individual will be responsible. You will be accounted for whether you did what is for you or not. Everyone knows what is for them to do. And everyone knows what is their duty in this world. This community looks very small, but who knows? Maybe it is one of the biggest works. For me, it is one of the biggest works. It doesn't matter if it's small. We are not trying to change the world. We are trying to build something. And whoever helps in that, whoever spends on the way, they will be blessed. Whoever tries to put barricades knowingly or without knowing, they will be cursed. Shaitan is telling to destroy anything that is built. And Allah and His Prophet ﷺ is saying to us, anybody who destroys anything that is built, they are under the curse. They will be under the curse in dunya, and they will be under the curse in akhirat. Of course, when Shaitan sees a strong community, when he sees people's hearts coming together, when he sees that a person's love is building to his sheikh, of course Shaitan will run to break it. This is a sign that the community is getting bigger and stronger. This is what fitna is. The effort of Shaitan to come and break a community. The one who engages in fitna is cursed. Shaykh Effendi is describing the strategy that Shaitan uses to break communities, saying, Shaitan says to his helper shaitans, be busy with them. If you see two persons talking nicely, what you have to do, you have to go to that one. You have to put doubts in the other one's heart. When that one says something, you're going to make that one to say, no, you see, he is lying. You're going to put a doubt there. Then you have to go to the other one you have to say, you see, he doesn't care for you. Shaitan is saying, and the best friendships, the best ones of you who is working for me is best one of you who is breaking friendship. Those people who are friends with each other, those people who care, who love each other. Because their Prophet said to them, if you are not saying La ilaha illallah, you are not entering into paradise. But if you don't love each other, it doesn't count that you are saying La ilaha illallah. So make them to say kalima through the heart, through the tongue, but through the heart, make them to hate each other. May Allah protect us from that. Of course, the sheikhs, they know the strategies and the plans of shaitanic people. Shaykh Effendi is explaining very clearly, for now until Judgment Day, for everyone to understand, Shaitan knows that if a man says kalima through the tongue, but he hates his brothers in his heart, such a man's kalima is not counted, and he will not enter paradise. So Shaitan is coming to us to break the bonds of our brotherhood and to plant the seeds of hatred in our heart. We must be watchers and guardians over our heart. We must watch to see if our heart is containing love for those who are joining with us to build a community for Allah's sake, or if hatred is entering. We must watch to see if our heart is having love for our guide, the inheritor of Rasulullah, if Shaitan's workers have put those seeds of doubt and anger in our heart. If we let those seeds to grow, we can make zikr, we can pray, we can fast, but our hearts have become dirty, and that will not take us anymore to paradise. The community of believers is established upon the example of the holy city of Medina. And Hazrati Ali al-Murtaza, Karamallahu Wajha, is telling us that Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Medina is sacred from the mountain up till the borders. Whoever makes a heresy, a bid'at in it, or helps a heretic or the person who practices bid'at, whoever does that, upon him is the curse of Allah, the angels, and the people all together. His obligatory and extra good deeds will not be accepted. The protection of the Muslims is one. Whoever betrays a Muslim, upon him is the curse of Allah, the angels, and the people all together. His obligatory and extra good deeds will not be accepted. We must guard our hearts. We have made a bayat, and that is a submission to a guide who sees what is in our hearts and warns us when shaitan is entering. We must keep sohbat only with those who remind us of Allah, Ibn Masud radiallahu anh said, remember Allah Almighty often. You must not be in anyone's sohbat unless they help you to remember Allah Almighty. We should build on that real love. Not love according to songs and social media. Love according to the saints. And Imam Rabbani Qadasir is saying in his Maktubat al-Sharif, in love and respect, deception and a false face is not permissible. In love and respect, to fool others and to have a double face is not permissible. The reason is that a person who loves someone is completely overtaken by this love, and he will never accept that his beloved is being attacked in any manner. He will also never agree to make peace with the enemies of his beloved. We must love for Allah's sake and leave for Allah's sake. The blessings of Jamaat that we have in these days is very rare. If we waste it, we will pull the displeasure of Allah. One of the early Muslims said, a time will come to people in which the most rare thing of that era will be a friendly brother, or a lawfully earned coin, or a practice from the Sunnah. How we are living those days, and how we are protected from all of that for the blessings of our Shaykh. And how much more grateful and how much more in shukr we have to be. We have these, alhamdulillah. This friendship that we can have inside a Jamaat, it is the greatest gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants to a man inside this worldly life. One of the very big awliya, Hazrat Abu Median, is saying, there is no taste in this life except in the companionship of the holy ones. They are the real sultans, the real masters, the real princes. So join their sohbats and learn the adab of their gatherings and keep your obligations even if they ignore you. Make your heart always open to your brothers without a limit, out of feelings and understanding, and turn your face if you see one of them slip. Watch the Shaykh carefully in all his conditions, because maybe then you will see a sign of his pleasure on you. Always be ready for his hizmat. Maybe he will be pleased with you. But be careful if you see he is annoyed with you, because it is in his satisfaction that you will find the satisfaction of your Creator and his obedience. He has granted you his good pleasure through his sohbat. So beware of abandoning it. This way, if we follow it properly, gives us taste in this life. It gives us happiness in this life, and it brings us to happiness in the next life. This way is the way of happy servants. We are ending with our Shaykh's advice, which is endless in its support and madad that comes to us. He's saying our duty is to try to live Islam correctly with ourselves, with our own ego. That is the biggest jihad that you are going to make, and that is obligation to every believer, that jihad. The other jihad that they are talking nonsense about all the time may happen once in a person's life, or it may never happen, and that is not obligation to everyone. That is only obligation to those people who fit to that category whom the Khalifa is ordering. It's not obligation to everybody. But the Jihad al-Akbar, the biggest jihad with the ego, is obligation to everyone. From young to old, from male to female, it is obligation. Everyone must try, must run, and must work on their ego. That is obligation. Don't say, I reach to 70 or 80 and I'm going to leave it. No. Shaitan may come around again. He is tired with those ones. trying to run away from them. But if you give him free invitation, then he may come around again. So smile. One invitation you are giving to shaitan is when you have a bad face and you are not smiling. Then you are giving invitation to shaitan saying, come to me. Leave that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves his happy servants. The more happy they are, the more he sends to them. Amen. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah lazim alazi. La ilaha illa wa al-hayyul wa atubu ilayh. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك القدير لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني ظالم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك سبحان قدوس ربنا رب الملك سبحان قدوس ربنا رب سبحان قدوس إن ديننا الله الإسلام
وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما أنبتت الأرض منذ دحوتها وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد النجوم في السماء فإنك أحصيتها وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما تنفست الأرواح منذ خلقتها وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما خلقت وما تخلق وما أحاط به علمك وأضعاف ذلك اللهم صل عليهم عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ومبلغ علمك وآياتك اللهم صل عليهم صلاة تفوق وتفضل صلاة المصلين عليهم من الخلق أجمعين كفضلك على جميع خلقك اللهم صل عليهم صلاة دائمة مستمرة الدوام على مر الليالي والأيام متصلة الدوام لا انقضاء لها ولا انصرام على مر الليالي والأيام عدد كل وابل وطل اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد نبيك وسيدنا إبراهيم خليلك وعلى جميع أنبيائك وأصفيائك من أهل أرضك وسمائك عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ومنتهى علمك وزنة جميع مخلوقاتك صلاة مكررة أبدا عدد ما أحصى علمك وملء ما أحصى علمك وأضعاف ما أحصى علمك صلاة تزيد وتفوق وتفضل صلاة المصلين عليهم من الخلق أجمعين كفضلك على جميع خلقك اللهم اجعلني ممن لزم ملة نبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعظم حرمته وأعز كلمته وحفظ عهده وذمته ونصر حزبه ودعوته وكثر تابعيه وفرقته ووافى زمرته ولم يخالف سبيله وسنته اللهم إني أسألك الاستمساك بسنته وأعوذ بك من الانحراف عما جاء به اللهم إني أسألك من خير ما سألك منه سيدنا محمد نبيك ورسولك صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه سيدنا محمد نبيك ورسولك صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم اعصمني من شر الفتن وعافني من جميع المحن وأصلح مني ما ظهر وما بطن ونق قلبي من الحقد والحسد ولا تجعل علي تباعة لأحد اللهم إني أسألك الأخذ بأحسن ما تعلم والترك لسيء ما تعلم، وأسألك التكفل بالرزق والزهد في الكفاف والمخرج بالبيان من كل شبهة والفلج بالصواب في كل حجة والعدل في الغضب والرضاء والتسليم لما يجري به القضاء والاقتصاد في الفقر والغنى والتواضع في القول والفعل والصدق في الجد والهزل. اللهم إن لي ذنوبا فيما بيني وبينك وذنوبا فيما بيني وبين خلقك، اللهم ما كان لك منها فاغفره وما كان منها لخلقك فتحمله عني وأولني بفضلك إنك واسع المغفرة. اللهم نور بالعلم قلبي واستعمل بطاعتك بدني وخلص من الفتن سري واشغل بالاعتبار فكري وقني شر وساوس الشيطان وأجرني منه يا رحمن حتى لا يكون له علي سلطان. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما باركت على آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وترحم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما ترحمت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وتحنن على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحننت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما سلمت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وارحم سيدنا محمدا وآل سيدنا محمد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت ورحمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذريته وأهل بيته كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم داحي المدحوات وبارئ المسموكات وجبار القلوب على فطرتها شقيها وسعيدها اجعل شرائف صلواتك ونوامي بركاتك ورأفة تحننك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق والمعلن الحق بالحق والدامغ لجيشات الأباطيل كما حمل فاضطلع بأمرك بطاعتك مستنفذا في مرضاتك واعيا لوحيك حافظا لعهدك ماضيا على نفاذ أمرك حتى أورى قبسا لقابس آلاء الله تصل بأهله أسبابه به هديت القلوب بعد خوضات الفتن والإثم وأبهج موضحات الأعلام ونائرات الأحكام ومنيرات الإسلام فهو أمينك المأمون وخازن علمك المخزون وشهيدك يوم الدين وبعيثك نعمة ورسولك بالحق رحمة. اللهم افسح له في عدنك واجزه مضاعفات الخير من فضلك مهنآت له غير مكدرات من فوز ثوابك المحلول وجزيل عطائك المعلول. اللهم أعل على بناء الناس بناءه وأكرم مثواه لديك ونزله وأتمم له نوره واجزه من ابتعاثك له مقبول الشهادة ومرضي المقالة ذا منطق عدل وخطة فصل وبرهان عظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. لبيك اللهم ربي وسعديك صلوات الله البر.
The believer must be happy on this day, must make the Jummah to be an Eid for yourselves, for your children, for your friends. This is a good thing. You don't feel it. Fake it till you make it. The good thing, imitate, force yourself to do it. You're not going to lose nothing. The bad things we're imitating and we're forcing ourselves to like it. Should not be. When you start losing the taste for namaz, for Jummah, sohbat and zikr, once you start losing the taste, check yourself. When you are alive in other things and you are dead here, check yourself. Your gas is finishing. Put it more, inshallah. That time you will get the benefit. This is for me first and for anyone who's listening. Assalamu alaikum. Sit, circle.
اللهم ابعثه مقاما محمودا يغبطه فيه الأولون والآخرون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأولاده وأزواجه وذريته وأهل بيته وأصهاره وأنصاره وأشياعه ومحبه وأمته وعلينا معهم أجمعين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عدد من صلى عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد من لم يصل عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد كما أمرتنا بالصلاة عليه وصل عليه كما يحب أن يصلى عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما أمرتنا أن نصلي عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما هو أهله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحب وترضاه له. اللهم يا رب سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد صل على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد وأعط سيدنا محمدا الدرجة والوسيلة في الجنة. اللهم يا رب سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد اجز سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من الصلاة شيء. وارحم سيدنا محمدا وآل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من الرحمة شيء، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من البركة شيء، وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من السلام شيء. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، وصل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين، وصل على سيدنا محمد في النبيين، وصل على سيدنا محمد في المرسلين، وصل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أعط سيدنا محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة الكبيرة. اللهم إني آمنت بسيدنا محمد ولم أره، فلا تحرمني في الجنان رؤيته، وارزقني صحبته، وتوفني على ملته، واسقني من حوضه مشربا رويا سائغا هنيئا لا نظمأ بعده أبدا، إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم أبلغ روح سيدنا محمد مني تحية وسلاما. اللهم وكما آمنت بسيدنا محمد ولم أره، فلا تحرمني في الجنان رؤيته. اللهم.
You have a question? Okay. Say. Bismillah. Yes.
We've been hearing this story since the childhood about the men of the caves and their dog. So my question is, what did that dog did special that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking him to the Jannah?
Yeah, that's good. BismillahirRahmanirRahim. There are only a handful of animals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in the Quran. Everything that Allah is mentioning is very, very special. There's different hikmat, wisdom, different secrets that are there. And there's only a handful of animals also that the Holy Prophet ﷺ is also mentioning that he is praising. That's why the Ottomans, they are running after not only the Prophet, but what and who the Prophet loves. So the Prophet loves this camel. It must be something special. The Prophet just doesn't choose any other old camel. It's special kind. So they say this camel is very special. So this camel is only for either high level people or only for prophets. And they breed it to give it a special rank. And that camel is a camel that is carrying the mahmal from Egypt, from Istanbul, going to Mecca, to Medina. What is the mahmal? Do you know? You know? But you know so much. You understand paradoxes and contradictions. This one you don't know. Mahmal is departing on, I believe it's Rabiul Awwal, no? On the day of the Prophet's birthday, alayhi wasalam. And these mahmal is, they have a different word sometimes here and there. It's a procession. And people who want to give gifts to the people in Mecca, Medina. So they would put it into this camel. Beautiful procession. The Sultan wishes to put gold, this, they put it on that camel. The people in each town, each village, they come together, they say, we want to give one lamp, or some gold coins, or some tapestry or something, and to be distributed to the people in Mecca, Medina, because these ones are special ones. They're the neighbors of the Prophet ﷺ. So they would do that. And every year, a big procession would happen, and the Sayyids of the Sayyids would be leading the procession to coincide from the time of the, I believe it is the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ, to be in time for the Hajj, that they are there. And then they will stop over in major Islamic cities along the way, from Istanbul, then going to Egypt, other places too, they pick up. So, and that camel that the Prophet ﷺ used to ride, that one that he used to ride, that one that he let, for it to be free. You understand? When he entered into Medina, wherever he's sitting, he knows where he needs to go. So, the camel's chosen to be. The one is riding that camel. He's carrying all the gold and all the precious things, not only from the Sultan, but from all of the Ummah that he will send. And a very beautiful procession. Hundreds of people will be there. They're playing drums. They're following it also. And that camel, they would have a representative of the Sultan to lead the camel to walk. And that representative of the Sultan is representing the Khalifa. So the Khalifa is not sitting, the Khalifa is the one who is holding the stirrups. You understand? A servant of the Prophet ﷺ. So very deep symbolic meanings to that. This is one of the things where just to see it, just to hear about it, it brings faith to you. It brings sweetness. It brings you some beauty from Islam. These are one of those things. There are so many that have been taken away from us. So now nobody gets any refreshment from that kind of a situation, practice. And so there's only a few animals that is mentioned. And that dog, which is called the kitmir, is, you know the story, a group of young people, 7. They have their names too. They're living in the time before the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Their names are Greek or Latin sounding. And they were believers, young people. What is this? Bee coming? Huh? Oh, it's a weird thing. And you have a special power now? You're calling them? Everyone around me, they all have special powers, yani, mashallah. And so, these 7 men, young men, they were believers and they decided to withdraw themselves from society, from their people, because their people were going the wrong way, not believing in Allah, not practicing it in their lives. There was wrong things that was happening. So they say, we're not part of it, not just saying and then being part of that society, but they actually removed themselves. And they went into a cave with that dog, and they slept. And Allah made them to sleep for 100 years, so that when they woke up, they thought they've only slept for part of a day. But when they woke up, 100 years have passed. They wanted to go into the city. They didn't know how much time, but they went to the city. They discovered that 100 years have passed, but now that city has become believers, and they were welcomed back. The 7 sleepers. There is a cave there. It's in Turkey. It's very blessed. There are a few maqams, places where they are remembered also. Now that dog is a kitmir. They did not leave their Allah. That dog did not leave them. And Allah specifically mentioning that dog too. What did that dog do? There are 12 characteristics of the dog that our Grand Shaykh and Shaykh Effendi has been concentrating on. that you should put in your houses. Don't just put calligraphy that you just say, it's nice, but you don't know the meaning, you don't take the wisdom from it. The words of the awliya Allah you should put, because they are the distillation, this is the essence, this is the teachings of Allah and His Prophet, and they put it in a language, in a way that it is very easy for us now to take and to put in our lives, to consume, you understand? As Shaykh Effendi said, one of the animals that Allah mentioned is the bee. It's a very blessed animal. They're going around thousands of flowers taking the nectar. And Shaykh Effendi says, there is sweetness that is from every flower, and there is also poison. And the bees, they separate this, the goodness and the poison. And the poison is what's going to make them to die, but the sweetness they bring together, and it becomes a honey, and it becomes a cure. So, this 12 characteristics of a dog that our grand sheikhs and the saints, they are saying, this is like them taking the wisdom of all the thousands of years, understanding millions of people, taking the different paths to Allah and taking the honey from it so that it's easy for us to take, and it is going to give benefit and a cure to us. People are going to say Quran is a cure. Of course Quran is a cure, but Quran itself is saying it can be a cure, it can be a poison too. There are so many people who take from the Quran and they interpret their own way, it becomes a poison. But there's no way that you can take these 12 characteristics of a dog that awliyas and prophets they share, and you can misinterpret that. So we should have that, understand what it is. Grand Shaykh is saying, Shaykh Effendi is saying, these are the 12 characteristics that the prophets and the saints they share. They are loyal, they are good-natured, they remember goodness. If their master hits them, they go, the master just looks at them, they come back, tails wagging. You understand? They are zahid. They don't need too many things. They live very simple life. So there's a lot of characteristics that are there that the dogs they possess. And that kitmir is remembered from that time until now, especially in this ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. They have been forgotten for a long time, but since the Prophet came for 1400 years, it used to be every Muslim knows this. They would even put their names and the names of their dog in their houses. There's a special blessing that comes when you just remember the names of those ones who love Allah. And they would tell their children, and they would take sweetness and nourishment in it, from it. And those ones, they are saying, let us be like that dog to you, Ya Rasulullah. Let us be like that kitmir. That kitmir is loyal to the masters. Let us to be like that to you. So we take lesson from it. Because everything that Allah has created is giving lesson to the believers. So look at those characteristics and say, how do we fit? What are the things that we need to work on? They are grateful, they are loyal. So we need to work on those characteristics. Then just by having those characteristics of a dog, it is not mentioned in all those 12 characteristics how much zikr is making, prayers, this, that. No, it's just characteristics. You understand? So if we are looking at that and being around people who have those characteristics, studying them, putting it in our lives, maybe Allah will mention us. This is important, inshallah. Okay, this much is enough. Fatiha. What's happening? So many strange things happening. Okay, any other questions? BismillahirRahmanirRahim. That's good. If there's no questions, I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to talk so much. Should be careful a little bit in these days. Like what the khutbah is saying, we should watch our hearts. Never think that you are special. Never think that you are high or holy. Don't. Always remember your bad deeds and how Allah is giving mercy to you. That will be a break to your ego. Don't concentrate on what people say about you, praising you. Don't even concentrate if Shaykh Effendi is praising you on that. Doesn't matter so much, because you yourself, you must know the wrong things that you have done. Concentrate on that. So don't get drunk and don't get lost. Continue with your own work. Doesn't matter. The caravan still continues. The dogs may bark. To stop and to bark back at the dog is not very foolish. It's not very smart. It's very foolish. So may Allah keep us with intelligence and with a good humor, and keep us in happiness in this way. Inshallah. Wa min Allahu tawfiq. Al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Oh, tea is here. Okay, everybody wake up. Okay. Yes, you have a question? Say. Give them.
Yesterday we were talking about the man who was rolling around happy that he lost his sheikh.
Yes. He lost his sheikh? What do you mean?
Or he disconnected from his sheikh. Right. Those that disconnect from their sheikh seem to fall into disaster after. That is because their ego becomes more dominant and takes them the wrong way, or they no longer have the protection of their sheikh?
Both. And more. There's no protection. Whatever that is there, the sheikh puts you, right? Loads you up with rahmat, with jewels, with things. And when you stray away from that, then the wolves will tear you to pieces, because you have something that normal people don't have. They'll tear you to pieces. Yes, no protection. Your ego goes crazy. And I thought you were going to say most people, everyone who left, they are all very happy. And I said, yes, they are. They're very happy for a short while. After that, something else sinks in. There is a pattern. It's not a anything can happen situation. There is a pattern that we see it happening over and over again. So, the one who has no shaykh, his shaykh is shaitan. Understand? This is the danger. And there are heavier words we don't want to say, because we're still praying for those ones. We are. Sometimes they are asking forgiveness. Sometimes. Very, very rarely. I can count on my 2 fingers when they do something and then they disappear, they do all sorts, and then they say, well, forgive us. Forgive us for whatever that we have done. Sort of a general forgiveness also, not really. Just say, oh, if I did anything wrong, forgive me. You know, that's not sincere, actually. But it's okay. They don't know that we forgive them already even before they ask. And they don't have to ask. The matter is not forgiveness also. The matter is, as human beings, as murids, as mature believers, we know what we did wrong or not. The forgiveness can be given, but if you believe that you don't do anything wrong, that you have always an excuse, a reason, then you don't learn anything. The next time you're going to make even a bigger mess. So there are those who are asking me, I said, there is nothing to forgive because it's already given, it's already forgiven. Between you and me, it's done. But if you don't learn, then you're going to be stuck there. Either you're going to be stuck insisting you never did anything wrong, or you're going to be so stuck that you're going to be repeating those same mistakes over and over again. And that's dangerous also. So yeah, Shaitan is not running around to pull unbelievers. He's not running around to pull even regular people because they're already in his system. He's running around to those ones who are out of that system, who's keeping themselves clean. So it is his job to make confusion outside and inside, to whisper. That's his job. It is our job now to defend ourselves. So if you're going to come to tariqat and you're going to find it strange and that you have doubts and you're going to believe in your doubts and you think that being tariqat means I should not have any doubts at all, then you're being very naive. Of course Shaitan is going to put doubts. Of course your ego is going to say. Of course all these things are going to happen. Tariqat is not paradise that you come here and then you are egoless. Tariqat, here especially, it is the situation where you come and we will make you to confront your ego, to understand yourself. We'll give you the tools, we give you the medicine, but you have to take it. We cannot open your mouth and put it inside. It doesn't work like that. So there are those who come to tariqat thinking they're already high level. There are those who come to tariqat thinking that now I'm reaching to a higher level of sainthood. There are those who come into tariqat that once you say, as Shaykh Effendi is saying, now your duty is to obey. If I say what is right and what is wrong. Those who come, they say, it's okay, you can tell us what is right, but don't you dare tell me what is wrong. Then all these doubts, once Shaitan is whispering and you are not trying to understand where it's coming from and you get confused, you start feeding it and you start thinking, I have a point, and you stop consulting, you stop being in sohbet, then it's just a slippery slope down. Then you are in an echo chamber, like what we said. You're just going to hear your own voice, nothing else. You don't allow any other voices, your own voice and your own shaitans and your own doubts and your own ego over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's going to be very strong. You will not listen to anyone. You don't want to listen to anyone. We all don't. And like I said, this is a pattern. We take lesson from it. Doubts are going to come. Questions are going to come. And this is the way that we say, we don't say you have to accept, you have to obey, you must. No. If you have questions, yeah, ask, find out. But don't ask questions when you already give the answer to yourself. That's not a real question. Don't ask question to prove that you are right and someone else is wrong. That's not a real question. Ask a question because you say, I don't know, really. I don't trust myself, but these things are coming and I need to ask. Sometimes people are saying, I have all these things, but I put it aside. It's up to you. I'm not here saying, please, Your Majesty, talk to me. You have to decide. You want to push it under the rug? It's up to you. You want to bring it up? It's up to you. You want to let it grow to become a mountain? It is up to you. You want to take it out and destroy it in its infancy? It is up to you. This is up to you. Besides all of this, we have different work that we're supposed to do. Whether it's religious obligations, obligations towards one another, obligations to the family, obligations that we are going to perform as a Jamaat. But this is a pattern that we see when people have doubts. They don't seek someone to give them an answer or an opposite answer or something, a different point of view. They will seek those ones who have the same doubts. I have questions. I'm not going to ask anyone who's going to give me an answer, which I already know they're going to give me an answer. I'm going to seek someone who also has those doubts and spend time with them, and this one. So, like I said, it's an echo chamber. This is not being honest. This is not being sincere. Then you always find excuses to say, well, we cannot talk because this, and this. Because we cannot talk because it's not going to say this, it's not going to answer, it's not. You can say that, anyone can say it, but why it took you 9 years to say that? If it's really bad that we are not a place where we can talk, you would have left 9 days after Shaykh Effendi had passed, because you know this is our characteristic, but it's not. Why wait 9 years? You understand? So, be careful with the association. Who you associate with. What? Association is not just physical association, your heart, your mind. It has to be. You are going to be questioned, of course. Allah keep us in safety and make us to become real. We are here talking about brotherhood, talking about love and everything, not because we are saying we have brotherhood, we're saying we have love. We're saying it because we want more. We need this advice. We lack here and there, definitely. You understand? So, it's up to you. Everyone is going to be hung by their own feet. We're all going to be responsible. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Eyvallah. Evet, anything else? Yes.
Question.
Give that to you.
Ismail, when Hussein Islam's followers, when they betrayed him in the middle of the night, you said that the ones that followed him, they knew months before that they were gonna die with him.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm asking, like,
not months before, years also. Hazrat Hussein already knew what his fate was going to be, because he was informed to his grandfather in his presence, that the Sahabis also knew that. They are the grandchildren of the Holy Prophet. You think they will not know these things? Of course they did. So as Shaykh Effendi is saying, he's walking to his destiny. Okay, these are not regular people. Allah is opening to them. This is what's going to happen. So make the right decision. Yes, so they knew.
Yeah.
Yes?
So they knew Shem, and the ones that left that night, the ones that betrayed, I wanted to know, like, they were with Hussein Islam from the beginning. So my question is, does it come to that, like, does it build up to that one moment where either it's this or here or there? Like,
decisions are made from one moment. But you formulating that moment to act in that moment takes a long time. It's not suddenly they decide, they will say, okay, we're going to go. It's already there. This is happening in life, it's happening especially in tariqat and religion. It's impossible someone who says, we will die for you, Ya Hussein, nighttime, morning time he wakes up and says, okay, we have to leave him. You understand? Especially at that time, it was already very clear how Hazrat Hussein is saying, look, we will die tomorrow. And I know, as Shaykh Effendi is opening this up, he says, I know some of you are shy and shame to tell me that you want to leave. So Hazrat Hussein knew, which means that they also know, and he's making it easy. He says, nighttime, it's going to be very dark, you can go. Basically saying, you think he would not know There were hundreds of thousands who pledged support, and they were with him, and slowly they start disappearing. So he knew how it's going to be. But and he is still giving them the opportunity. But those ones that left, they have made those plans. Their hearts start becoming shaky. You understand? Now, how do we stop our hearts from becoming shaky? This is the point. How do we make our hearts to become very strong? This is the thing. Don't just say with words. How you make your hearts to be strong when there are doubts and you rise up against it. When there are whisperings and you answer them. You don't listen to them. These whisperings, they are so dangerous, so important, that Allah dedicated a whole surah. The last words in Quran, last words of that surah is talking about the whisperings of shaitan and shaitanic people and asking protection. So tariqat is to look at these whisperings, not to entertain every whispering that comes. Is to look, is this coming from shaitan? Is this coming from Rahman? You are following someone. You are following a shaykh, a guide. Then you're going to see through his eyes. You don't eat everything that you want because you know this is healthy and this is unhealthy. If you have a nutritionist at hand, you're going to consult him with everything and you're going to follow. Because the nutritionist is there to give you advice, to give you the best health. You're not going to doubt your nutritionist. It's very stupid. You don't have the same knowledge. Even if you don't like, you're going to say this is what he advised, but you'll never doubt him. And it is worse when it comes to spirituality, because people do that. They not only will say, no, I know more than him, they will rise up to say, he was never one in the first, he's a fake. It happens, because shaitan whispers, and you listen. So it happens, like I said, it's questions they come, doubts they may come, it's how you deal with it. You understand? Is it real? Is it not real? Not every question that comes to you is real. Not every doubt that comes to you is real. You must know whether this is just Malayani or this is a real question. You don't know. Consult. Consult. Especially in the beginning, after the honeymoon period has passed, oh, shaitan will attack you with everything. And the sheikhs, they make, at that time, they will show their human side a little bit more. So that those ones, that they don't use their intelligence, they don't step on their ego, they will fall to shaitan too. Say, look at him. He's saying he's a sheikh, but look, he's sleeping over there. Look, what is this? He's throwing food. There are so many people, anything. The sheikh will just do. You're going to see how strong you are. If you're using your intelligence, it's not as if Allah did not give intelligence, He does. You understand? So, whether it's coming from you or other people, they're going to say, watch out for those people. They only take advantage of you. It's up to you. You want to listen, you don't want to listen. It's up to you to process it. We should be intelligent. Inshallah. It's coming from Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Afir, eat your cake. La ilaha illallah. Ashka. Anything else? No. As much as enough. Assalamu alaikum.
وسلم تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى أزواجه وذريته وعلى جميع النبيين والمرسلين والملائكة والمقربين وجميع عباد الله الصالحين عدد ما أمطرت السماء منذ بنيتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما أنبتت الأرض منذ دحوتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد النجوم في السماء فإنك أحصيتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما تنفست الأرواح منذ خلقتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما خلقت وما تخلق وما أحاط به علمك وأضعاف ذلك. اللهم صل عليهم عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ومبلغ علمك وآياتك. اللهم صل عليهم صلاة تفوق وتفضل صلاة المصلين عليهم من الخلق أجمعين كفضلك على جميع خلقك. اللهم صل عليهم صلاة دائمة مستمرة الدوام على مر الليالي والأيام متصلة الدوام لا انقضاء لها ولا انصرام على مر الليالي والأيام عدد كل وابل وطل. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد